Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. Today we're going to do another collab with Amber from This Southern Girl Can and Michelle of A Noble Touch Crafts. We're going to be focused on Dollar Tree Home Decor. So we all have great ideas that we want to show you. So if you come from my channel and you go to Amber's and Michelle's, make sure you leave them a red heart, subscribe, and let them know I sent you. We have so much fun making these for you guys, and I hope that you will learn something new today. Let's get started. You're probably wondering right now, why in the world does Julie have a plunger that was connected and now it's detached? Well, even a plunger has some crafty value here. I'm not going to use this. I'll throw this out. But anyways, we will use this to make our little like bohemian feathers with Dollar Tree products. Now, what I want to show you is I got to go upstairs. I got to get this sticker off, maybe use some of my lemon oil on it, and then I'm going to cut this off, or if you have like a sander, you could just sand it down and kind of make your edges match, but I'm going to cut that down and then maybe cut this off a little bit just because it's got a little rounded edge. I don't know, but here's an alternative if you don't want to use this big of a piece of wood. Also, if you have a tree branch or trees outside that you can get branches off of, unfortunately, I don't, so I got to resort to something like this. But Dollar Tree also sells these dowel rods. They're like 12 inches long, and you could use one of these, and you could achieve the same effect. So if you don't want to go with getting out some hand saws, then I totally get it. Okay, so I went to go look for my little hand saw. Of course, I couldn't find it, and my husband's not at home, and I just don't feel real comfortable trying to cut something like this with a power saw and not having somebody with equal strength in holding it. So what I opted to do, and this works good if you guys don't have or want to work with any type of tool like that, you can do this too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some twine. They do sell this at the Dollar Tree, and I kind of had a happy accident. I was, you know how we had the label on here, I used Goo Gone. They have this at the Dollar Tree in a little bottle, so I would suggest getting this. And so I'm in the middle of taking my sticker off, and I realized that you are not supposed to do this on unfinished wood surfaces. Well, this was an unfinished wood surface, but as I was doing it, I liked the color that it gave the wood. This is an oil, so oil is going to change the look of wood. So I really thought this was a great accident. So you can get Goo Gone at the Dollar Tree, rub it all over your piece of wood, and it literally will change your wood from having a nice finish like this to this finish. So again, a nice happy accident there. So Julie, what are you going to do? I'm going to, well, first of all, we need to have a way to hang our wall art here. Okay, so I want about that much. Just going to kind of look and see. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a really long piece here, and I'm just going to start it about right here, and I'm going to glue it on, and I'm just going to keep wrapping it until I have that all covered. Okay, so I'm going to take my glue gun, put a little bit of glue right here to get it started. I kind of started it over a little bit farther than I wanted to, so let's see if we can, there we go. We'll just grab that over, and if you want to use the Dollar Tree rope instead, you can do that. I think that would be as pretty to do. Oops, kind of lost it there. But I'm just using this twine that I already have. So I'm going to put a little bit more glue here on the edge. And we're just going to wrap it. And then we'll glue the edge here in a moment. But then this way it gives our ends kind of a cohesive look. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here. So make sure you're checking Michelle's video and her take on Dollar Tree Home Decor and Amber's take on Dollar Tree Home Decor. We all have a little bit different take, and I think you guys will enjoy it, something different. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of glue, little dot, and then I'm going to cut that off there. And then what I'm going to do, because so I started it, all right, we had a bunch of it out here, and so I started it. So now I'm just gonna see what looks good. Let's see, about there, I'm thinking. So I'm just gonna put a little bit more glue right here, get it started. And I'm gonna just try to mimic what I did over there. All right. And when I wrap it, it doesn't mean it necessarily gets to that glue spot. That's okay, because it's just gonna stay. So, okay, so now that we got this done, I also want to say that all of this was inspired by stuff I saw on TikTok. I see a lot of DIY people that love to work with Dollar Tree stuff, and I will leave a couple links below of some accounts that I follow, and I think that their ideas are great. So, but everybody seems to be doing this, and so a lot of this you can do with, you could use yarn. You don't have to use Dollar Tree products. You could use something else. Let me show you what I'm going to use. Okay, so I got the Dollar Tree mop that is on the handle, and let me show you, there's two different options at Dollar Tree. There's one version that you can buy by itself, and then this version on the handle is just, I don't know if you can kind of see the difference. This has a more grayish tone and this is more white, so it just really depends on the look you're going for. I kind of prefer this look, so that's why I got these, but either one of these will work just fine. So how do we take this apart? So all you're gonna do, it's so easy. You're just gonna take a little screwdriver here and you're just going to pop off this like that. And boom, you've got all your cotton for your feathers. I'm gonna lay this to the side. So how are we gonna do this? I wanna do 2 feathers on this. You could just do one big one if you want, but I wanna do, I'm sorry, my voice is kind of going today, but I wanna do 2. So how am I gonna do this? You're just going to lay whatever stick or form you're gonna use. You're gonna lay it out, and this measures out to be about 17 inches. But I'm going to work from the rope end to the rope end, which is more like 16 inches. That's kind of how I went with it. So the feathers are going to be about anywhere from about 6 to 8 inches long, depending on how you trim them, okay? So number one, I want enough room for that. And I don't want the feathers to overlap and then I have to trim them more than I wanted to. So what I figured out is I was going to go 3 inches in, and again, this is why I love these mats. They're in my Amazon store as long as with all my other tools that I use. So I'm going to count 3 over. 1, 2, 3. So this is where, with a pencil, I'm going to mark on my bar here where I want to have the feathers hanging down. 1, 2, 3. So you can do 2 things here. You could take your piece of cotton and you could just go and make a loop here and just have it go through. Okay, you could do this, but here's the thing that creates, that's going to create a kind of a smaller feather. So this isn't what I want to do. So you just going to take this apart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on the back of my bar, just right here, and I'm going to wrap it a few times and then let that glue dry. All right, just make sure it's going over that bar where you marked it, okay? Okay, do it one more time here, and I'm going to put some glue on the front so that it's all going to hold it. Put a little bit more on the back. Oops, got my finger. That happens, and you can move it over if you want, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it over the bottom here, and I'm going to put some glue right here. Let's see, is this where I want? Yeah. Just gonna, wherever the bottom of your bar is, and that's where we're going to start. And that's because I'm just still using this, and I want to make sure that it's just the right length. Okay? So I'm going to let that go, and that gives me a good like 10 to 12 inches here, and I can work on with that, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing over there. Okay, so it's always fun to learn something new, and I'm having fun with this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one piece of your strand of your mop head, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut that in half. So I'm just gonna cut this in half, and it's really easy, okay? You're gonna fold them over, okay? You're gonna lay this one underneath the main hanging rope, okay? And then I'm gonna do the same thing, make a little loop here, and I'm gonna go under this loop and through it, and I'm gonna lay it like so, okay? See? So now I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to take the little two ends and go through it, and then I'm going to pull. I'm going to make sure everything's about good. I'm going to pull really good, and then I'm just going to move that up, okay? Let's do that again. Take one of your mop head things. What do we call these, okay? Your faux macrame yarn, okay? So I'm going to put one underneath, fold it, and we're going to put the loop over here. And then I'm going to take the ends and go through that loop, okay? And then I'm going to pull it like so, and then I'm just going to pull it up. So I'm going to just keep working on this. I'm going to go all the way down. If you can see the dry skin, I'm looking, you probably have a close-up and you can see all the dry skin on my hands. It is so cold here in Michigan. Tell me in the comments. Let's see, it's February of 2021, and it's like 10 degrees outside with a negative, chill factor. So let me know where you are and what the weather is like. So I'm just going to keep doing this and show you how easy this is to make. Okay, so I got through, I did both sides. When I'm looking at this is a little bit bigger than this side, but that's okay. Nothing is perfect, so learn from my mistakes. I had this much left with the mop head, so I really think that one mop head would be plenty if you just wanted to do something similar to the size that I'm doing. Now, so if you had $1 in the toilet plunger, and if you needed to buy the jute, so that's another $1, and $1 for this, that's $3, guys. So at this point, I'm going to take a comb, and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to comb out these braids. And if you like the way this looks, absolutely leave it the way it is. But you're just going to hold the middle here, and you're just going to go through and you're just going to comb it out, and it kind of gives it a softer look. If you want to use, let's use this. There we go. That kind of, and it's kind of pulling it, so that's why I'm wanting to hold this down. So let me tell you how much I used. I used 21 strands. Of course, 21 here and 21 here, of course. So that's 21 whole, let's see here, one of these, and then of course you cut that in half. All right. So I'm going to work on just combing this out, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to cut it in a feather-like form. I really love how this is coming out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of trim it up. And so I'm just going to take a pair of my scissors here. This is my well-loved pair. As you can see, I have lots of dried glue on it. And I'm just going to kind of try to shape these the best I can and get off the kind of the straggly ends, I guess is a good way to put it. So I'll just kind of look at both ends here and just kind of eyeball it. And if you want to make yours smaller, if you want to make yours bigger, you could do that. And you could also use just a piece of the rope, or you could even use the twine coming down. I don't see why not. You just have to attach it the same way. Really no difference. Okay, so I think that looks good. So let's kind of trim down the other side. trim this one up. And then when you bring it down, you're just gonna kind of, it's gonna kind of come together like that little one. And I don't know that I wanna, when it hangs, it's just gonna come together. So I don't know that I wanna cut the little tail there because I don't wanna risk like the kids coming up and pulling a piece off. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's do this side. So the last step in this, I have some spray that I'm gonna try on this that will just, I'm gonna lay this flat and I'm just gonna spray it with this Aleene's quick spray or stiff quick spray. What is it called? Stiffen quick spray. You can get this at Hobby Lobby. I'm sure they sell it at Joann's and Michael's too, or your favorite craft store. But I'm liking the looks of that, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lay this flat on a piece of paper or something upstairs and let it kind of dry in the sun. And I'm going to kind of just give it a light spray, and then this will kind of stiffen this up so that when you hang it up, it will just hang really nice. So I'm really happy with this project. This one was a fun one. I might shape it a little bit more, maybe give it a little bit more of a haircut, but at the same time, I think this is really, really pretty. I know this isn't a wreath. I know this isn't maybe your style, but this is really popular and people are paying a lot of money for these. So stay tuned for the second project. Really quick and really easy. All right, so the next project, very easy to do. We're staying with that bohemian or boho look for decor for the house. Is we are going to use these burner covers. We're just going to use one in this project. You could do both if you wanted to. I'm going to use the Nautical rope that is the brown color, and then I'm going to use the Nautical cotton rope that is like the cream color, okay? So I will let you know how many of these we will need after we get this done. But what you're going to do is take this out of the package, and I'm going to just lightly sand the top of this burner cover set that you get at the Dollar Tree for your stove. So do that and I'll come right back. Okay, so you can see I just lightly sanded it a little bit. I kind of roughed it up just because you can see the smoothness and the shininess of this. It'll just let the glue stick to it better. And I thought that we would add just a little bit. Now, again, found this idea on TikTok. I will share the TikTokers social media thing in the description box below. I think she's great, and I just thought I gotta share this with you guys. Oh, so cool. So I'm gonna cut the one that has a little tape on here. Whoops, there it goes. And what we're gonna do is you're gonna find your center, and I think, let's see here, I think it's around that coffee cup is where it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bend this. We're gonna just start it, and this is kind of like the same thing that we do with the centers for the flowers. You know, we're gonna get it started here. I think that's a little off. Let's go down a little bit, Jewel. I don't know, you guys, my family calls me Jules, so I'm calling myself Jules today. So I'm just gonna kind of bend this around and we're gonna get it started. All right, it might be off. Let's look a little bit here and we'll move it down just a tad. Again, nothing needs to be perfect. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to add glue and we're going to keep wrapping. We'll probably have to add another strand. That's okay because this is, you know, this is bohemian, a boho feel. And, you know, that's okay. It's not like crisp, clean lines. We're not doing anything modern here. So it just kind of has the feel of nature. And that's what I kind of like about this project, that, you know, you go to the stores, you go to like, oh, Kirkland's or, oh, what other stores do you like to shop at? I love Marshall's and Home Goods. I don't know if you guys have those places, but I love those places. And you can get really good deals there, but sometimes you just want to try to make it yourself. Or maybe you've seen this online at like Pottery Barn or something. And why not try to do it yourself? You know, if you could do something yourself, save yourself some money, why not? So I'm just gonna, as you can see, I'm getting started here. I'm just gonna keep going. I'll come back when I have to add another thing of rope for you. Okay, so that is how much one roll is, and I already put some glue here. So I just cut off the tape part and we're just gonna connect it as close as we can there with the other one. And I'm gonna add a little bit more glue because that glue is dry in. There we go. While I was getting ready for the recording that. But I think that's pretty. I think I'm just going to keep going here. I think it's going to need, oh, at least a third thing of rope here, because we're going to go along the sides here and add that too. And it's really quick and really easy here. Okay, so 3 strands of the roping fit the large stove cover or range cover. What do you call it? Oven cover, the things that we cook on. I can't remember. So what I want to do before I show you the next step is how are we going to hang this? Did you hear that? Those are my elephants. Okay, I'm just going to keep going, guys, because I got a lot to record today. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take some more of my good old twine here, and I'm just going to cut some. I'm going to make a little loop here, and then we're just going to glue this on the back. Now, I should say that I use Gorilla glue sticks in my glue gun, so I'm not using the stuff that you get at Dollar Tree, okay? I like the Gorilla glue sticks. It's just a preference of mine. So I'm going to take my little thing here. I'm going to see, where do we want this to be hung at? I think I'm going to hang it like right here. So I'm going to lay it right there, so that way we've got somewhere to hang that. And I'm just going to put some glue down here. Yeah, I'm being really careful here. And then we are going to take a piece of felt. I always like to add the felt because I just feel like it looks better than just having dried up glue. So that's just me. You can skip this step. This is just the way I do it. So I'm gonna let that dry. And we're gonna you should probably glue it like right here too. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue here because that's just gonna hang around where it shouldn't be. So I'm gonna kind of like, I'm gonna use my scissors here like this, and I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna put another piece of felt right underneath of that. I'm gonna, because I have it right here. Sometimes you just kind of have to make it up as you go, and that's the way it goes sometimes. All right. So maybe when you hang it up, maybe have it hung up a little bit closer here, but this isn't going to go anywhere, okay? So I'm going to let that dry. So what's the next step? Well, you're going to take some of the nautical rope, cotton nautical rope. So there's 2 nautical ropes at Dollar Tree. You can get the brown version, the rustic version, or you can get this kind of creamy color version. And I think I've even done this with, a flower center, I think, too. I have a beach style wreath that I did this with, and I just like this roping. I was really excited when Dollar Tree started carrying this. So what you're going to do is I'm going to take about let's say 9 inches, and we might say less here. And I'm going to cut off 9 inches of this rope, and I'm just going to, really, I'm going to just kind of make a knot in the middle of it. Okay. See that? All right. And then you're just going to unravel your edges here, bring them down together. Okay. Wherever the knot looks good. Okay. So that looks good. So I'm going to take some more of my twine, and I'm going to, let's see, I think I want that to be the front. So I'm going to take my twine, and I'm just going to, you can wrap it once or twice. I think once is plenty here. And I'm just going to do a double knot here. Up by the base of the knot. So we're kind of making little tassels is what we're doing here. Okay. And then I'm going to cut out those. And then I'm going to find my little comb here that I used for the other project. And I'm just going to comb this out. You can use a brush. This one combs out really nice. So how long do I want this? I want this, oh, that looks so cute. Okay, so I want this about 2 inches. So I'm going to trim this at 2 inches, okay? All right, trim, trim. And so what we're going to do, let me trim it a little bit more. So we did 9 inches per rope. So you might be able to do like, 8 inches. I mean, it just depends on how much you want. So basically what we're going to do is we're now going to glue these. Let's start where the little hanger is. So now I'm just going to glue this on. Again, this is not an outdoor project. This is an indoor project. This is your home decor, okay? So I'm going to just hold that on. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to fill this whole thing. Okay, so this is the finished look. As you can see, I can just go through and you can even trim these some more. You just take your comb. What I plan on doing with this, just like I did with the feathers, I'm going to spray this Aleene's Stiffen Quick and see how that helps. And just, I think this turned out really cute. I mean, I could see where I might need to trim it a little bit more, but I really like the way it looks. And of course, we got our little hanger right there. And I'm happy with it. So now that we're at the end of the video, I want you to go watch Michelle's video, A Noble Touch Crafts, and Amber's video, This Southern Girl Can. And I want you to leave them, let's see, a red heart emoji, if you can see it. So if you watched my video first and then you went and watched their videos, leave them a red heart emoji to know that I sent you to their channels. If you're not subscribed to their channels, make sure to subscribe. I think you'll really love their content like I do. So I just have fun doing this sort of thing. This is a little different, a little bit not necessarily wreath related, but I love home decor. I don't know about you, but I love to shop for home decor. So I love to have a little bit of something that just gives it flair. So I'm really happy with this, and I'm happy with the feathers too. So make sure that you subscribe to my channel here. Find me on Facebook, join my group called Wreath Creators and More, and we will see you next time in Julie's Wreath Boutique.